Turn the mic on. Truth in the building. No filters. No politics. No apologies. Dr. Ken, let's go. We don't quit till the whole thing shake. Truth hit hard, make the whole world wait. Real talk loud when the system fade. Stand tall, even when the whole ground break. No fear, no foe, no retreat. Pressure make diamonds when the fire meet heat. All gas, no brakes. When the truth gon' speak, Dr. Ken in the booth.
Truth don't sleep.
Came from the bottom when survival was a law. Learn real quick what respect really costs. Everybody got opinions from afar, but they ain't never had to carry those scars. Built from pressure, discipline, pain. Some lose focus, some lose aim. Some sell souls just to chase that fame. I build my brick by brick, no shame. See the world get weak when it need a moment. Too many followers pretending they friends. Too many loudmouths scared to defend any real conviction when the pressure set in. But I stand on business, stand on code, stand on truth when the lies explode. Some fold up when the road gets cold. Some become legends when the story gets told. We don't quit till the whole thing shake. Truth hit hard, make the whole world wait. Real talk loud when the system fades. Stand tall, even when the whole ground breaks. No fear, no foe, no retreat. Pressure make diamonds when the fire meet heat. All gas, no brakes. When the truth gon' speak, Dr. Ken is on.
Truth don't sleep.
Frank. Candid. Straight to the point. If nobody else gon' say it.
Well, good evening and welcome. I'm Dr. Ken Harris, and I thought I'd jump in a little early. Maybe it's because I'm excited, huh? I got some guy that rolled in and decided he wanted to come take over my show. So I thought I'd invite him to the show. That's none other than, I don't know how to describe him. I'm going to let him describe himself. Sherwin Hughes, what's going on with you?
Hey, Doc, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Oh, just living the dream, as they always say. I'm not really sure whose dream it is, but I'm living somebody's dream.
Wow. So for those of you that knew, I promoted it last week that the great Sherwin Hughes is going to be. And I got a lot of stuff I want to talk to you about as well, because we had a lot of Supreme Court things that are going on in the last few days and all that. So first of all, how are you? How's life?
I'm doing well. Life is going good. It is finally summertime. So those people that were lamenting the cold weather in the winter, well, you got your wish now, because it's going to be real hot for the next few days, but I'm doing good.
Yeah, till Wednesday night, 7:00. They're talking. I mean, when I came home today, it was 96 degrees. So I don't know if I'm going back out. I don't know if this bald head can take it. Even though I use sunscreen, I do use sunscreen because I got hollered at. Babar hollered at me last week about using sunscreen, so I had to go get some. So.
Well, good. That's sound advice, Doc.
Hey, we got some people in the YouTube chat that want to say hello. Of course, RN Kwanda, not really a city girl, came out of nowhere. She shows up every now and then. Sincere Ronnie Ray Real, Todd, Curly Q. Looks like Doc. Oh, look, wait a minute. Sir Chance is up in here. Lucretia. So everybody thought they'd say hello. What's going on?
Hello to all those folks. Some of those folks, they don't join me during my program, but I'm glad to be having interactions with them on yours.
Well, you got a bunch of folk that join your show and not mine. So I think we're even on that one.
Fair is fair.
And I'm pretty sure you got more viewers and more people on your show than I do mine. So, but I don't really count those things.
No, we don't need to count those.
No, I don't even. Yeah. So it is. My last day was May 22nd on my birthday in May. What a going away present. And now it's
your last day with 1017 The Truth.
With that other place.
That's right. Fair enough.
I'm not bitter about it or bothered, or I think even said on your show, that's just life in radio. It just is right. What it is. How have you been doing? How has your show, how have your listeners and viewers reacted to your colleague's departure? I'll put it like that.
It's been very unique because what we built when we were all together and 101.7 The Truth was special in that I could refer to you, your show, one of your
Mhm.
topics. I could refer to Tori because a lot of times we would be talking about the same things, but from our
Right.
different perspectives. I don't
Right.
have that luxury now because our new
Right.
hosts they're kind of finding their way, and the topics that they talk about are where their particular interest areas are.
Right.
I think for the most part, we tried to cover what was impacting Milwaukee, what was impacting our
Right.
listeners. And I don't know if my current colleagues have kind of navigated, what truth listeners actually are, because I'm not sure how familiar they were with our brand and how we interacted with the community. So it's different. I kind of feel like I'm on an island by myself, and also I've been doing it so much longer than my
Yep.
other colleagues have, that it kind of puts me in kind of an odd spot. And I want them to be successful, and I want to promote them as best I can. But we have very little like topic overlap, which makes it
And
kind of difficult.
it really seems like they're more so talking about what they're interested in instead of what Milwaukee is interested in. So those things that really affect Milwaukee and what impacts their pocketbook, all their economics and their education is just kind of like non-existent.
I certainly would agree with that. But I think they're gonna find their way. And also I think that the audience can kind of shape and mold the directions that they can go in, because I know they're very responsive to the YouTube chat, and I shouldn't say very. They respond to the YouTube chat because Doc, when you're relatively new, you need that interaction with the people you're talking to kind of give you some guidance. And it seems like some shows are doing a much better job of that. But I mean, it's still early. It's still
right. Now, are you saying that because you work there?
No,
or
I
are
don't
you
say
saying
anything
that in
because
your
I work there.
professional opinion.
I think that's my professional opinion. I mean, I have not held back. I opened up my Facebook group to specific commentary and critique of the new shows, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
And I made sure they all saw it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take anything down, because if this is the community that keeps us employed, if this is what their feedback is, I suggest you heed it. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. I had a woman come up to me Saturday night. Well, Kyle got married on Saturday.
He did.
Yeah. And a woman walked up and said, I need adult conversations.
I could see her perspective.
And she said, where can I find you?
That's gotta be flattering, right?
It is. It was. But it's unfortunate because there could have been such a phenomenal transition and a phenomenal way to do it. And when you work with people who have no understanding of radio, they think the word media gives them carte blanche to understand radio, and they just don't. They say they understand social media, but that's the technical part. You don't understand the content part. And so because you have experience doing this documentary or that thing, it doesn't transfer. And when you're not open to listening, I get booted. And and you move on. And it's really unfortunate that the listeners in Milwaukee lose vital information. We got an election coming up. We've got so many things. The fact that, Cavalier Johnson went on literally the day after I left. I'm out Friday, he comes on Monday. That can be looked at as an insult, but I look at it as, a time where you're not able to increase your intellectual capacity to have a real conversation because you have just been, as they say, shucking and jiving people for a few years. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Doc, I don't know, and I can't tell you how you should or should not take something, but what I've noticed in the first, I don't know, probably month, my colleagues have been doing nothing but interviews. All of their shows have been interviews.
Right.
And usually Cavalier Johnson is a pretty easy get.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Except for me.
Well, you tried to get him before?
He never came on my show. He never came.
Well.
I invited him multiple times. He never came. To the point where one of his people came to me early in the show and said, leave him alone. He's doing good. And I'm like, you're actually speaking up for a grown man. And
there was one day.
Yeah.
Maybe I should say he's an easy get. I guess when I have requested him, which has not been very often, I think maybe once I requested him, there was a time that maybe he wanted to be on my show, but it was related to the 2024 election. And then there was a request that I had dangling out for him, and he didn't respond to it, which is fine. But then somebody told me that he was on TMJ literally at the exact same time that my show was on. Yep. So we did some finagling, and I come to find out that our producers and our studio can pipe in audio from TMJ. So on the day that I thought Cavalier Johnson could have joined me or should have joined me, he was on TMJ, and then we piped in the audio from his interview at TMJ. And it was fascinating because he was talking to that audience like they were city of Milwaukee residents. Some of them were not, but it's almost like he was trying to be over accommodating to suburbanites who have a stereotypical opinion of Milwaukee. Here's what I say to those folks. If you don't like the city of Milwaukee, don't come here. Why should our mayor have to coddle you and try and cater to you to get you to see the city of Milwaukee is safe? Because I'm not sure if those are the kind of people that we want here in the city anyway. So it actually embarrassed him because he could have been on my show, but I piped in and he didn't know that we were listening on the screen. He listened to good 20 minutes of the interview. And it almost sounded like he was running for mayor of a suburb. It was really weird.
Well, but he is. That's where all his money comes from. That's all the people that support him, the construction companies and all of them. And they're willing to do development downtown. So it's funny. Curly Q said Cavalier was literally in the opening of your show and you basically said, give him a chance. So for him to ignore a request is crazy. That's an accurate word. Yeah. Accurate word. All right. So Supreme Court, dude.
Yeah.
I want to pick your brain. So the Supreme Court basically handed Donald Trump 3 straight losses. Well, 2 straight losses and a semi-loss. But it made some good clarification. And a lot of the writers tried to skew it, but I don't know how you can skew it when the majority of the court, what is it, 6-3 conservative, continues to follow the Constitution and not Donald Trump, which has got to be exasperating for him. They ruled in favor of Lisa Cook, the first one, member of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, who Donald Trump had tried to fire by a vote of 5-4. The court held that Cook could continue to remain in her job while her challenge to Trump's efforts to fire her moved forward. Any court will allow you, if you have a case pending, to let the case go through. Let the lower court do what they're supposed to do and not jump to the Supreme Court and try to push everything out the way. And so I thought that was a pretty powerful thing, to the point where Chief Justice John Roberts contended that if the Trump administration were correct, it would in effect transform the Federal Reserve's for cause protection into an at-will employment. And so once you put somebody in something as delicate as the Federal Reserve and money and monetary fund and monetary policy, you don't want to just in the middle of it flip somebody out. That is just absolutely crazy. The weird part was Sotomayor, Kagan, Kavanaugh, and Brown Jackson joined him in his opinions. What are your thoughts?
I don't know if Donald Trump should be going to the court for victories. I think that they are executing the constitutionality of what is being brought before them. And I wish that the Solicitor General would be a little bit more intentional and understanding, and somebody telling the president, yeah, this is not a case that you probably should take to the court, because in the event that you are not successful, it's going to make you look bad. And you are using the court as your own personal defense team for some of the things that you're trying to do that we all know are unconstitutional. So every now and again, we will get, a decent ruling, I guess, one that justifies how the public is feeling about the way the court is supposed to operate. Lately, I shouldn't say lately, the past couple of years, the Supreme Court has polled as low, if not lower than Congress. And so every now and again, there will be a decision or a ruling that I hope instills confidence in the court amongst the people. But they have really, really taken a hit over the past couple of years because of some of the decisions that they have made.
But it's not that it's unconstitutional. It's just that you can't do it now, like your process. And usually what people don't understand about the Supreme Court is if it's they only look at violations of civil rights, basically, violations of Constitution. And they're saying it shouldn't have even gotten here. Like, stop. You need to take that back. And so I think people don't understand the Supreme Court in terms of wins and losses, because if you lose at the Supreme Court, that's not necessarily a bad thing. They told him, you really didn't lose. You just can't do that with that particular agency. Because in another case, he did in fact fire somebody and said he can go through to another, I forget which agency it was, and said, if you want to fire that person, go ahead. It doesn't affect, fiscal policy. So have a nice thing. But I think anytime it surrounds fiscal, you got to go through Congress.
That's right.
And I think that's the beauty of it, that they were able to tell him, that's cute, but if you want to go to the Federal Trade Commission, sure, knock yourself out. But if it's the Fed, no.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, right. I just thought it was a good opinion, because you have to have people that you can trust. So there are people in certain places. And so he told them, if you want to do the Federal Trade Commission, hey, they handle trade. That's fine. But when it came to mail-in ballots, I thought that it was pretty powerful that Republicans told him, like, dude, like, what are you talking about? Like, at some point, you can count it as long as they're postmarked by the day and get them within 5 days. Like, at some point, like, it's got to be reasonable. So, okay, so you won't know Tuesday. You'll know Saturday who won. Is that really going to kill us? I personally think that we should take, at least that day should be a federal holiday or a state holiday or a city holiday, and you should be able to take off and vote. I think it is just idiotic that businesses control me getting paid and have to fill out this form. It's just like going to court and testifying, or I'm sorry, being on testifying too, and being on a jury. You got to fill out this little $29 slip and turn it into your employer, and they pay you for. It's just idiotic. I think we've lost some constitutional control. But this made me happy. Supreme Court held up the Mississippi law that allows mail-in ballots to be counted as long as they're postmarked by and received within 5 days of election day. Your thoughts?
Never should have gone to the court in the first place. This goes back to the 2020 election where Donald Trump was leading, when all of the in-person votes were counted, and then as additional mail-in votes were coming in and counted, which did take several days. We didn't know the true results of the election. I also know that there's no real motivation to count every single vote. There's no real motivation to get everyone in this country to vote. Because
once you got the percentage,
if that was the motivation, then absolutely it'd be a federal holiday, and it would probably be on a weekend. So there's no motivation for that. But I think that he was looking for a way in which he can point to things where, there's fraudulent votes because these votes are coming in. And here's the whole point of mail-in voting. I don't know why more people don't understand the simple premise. If we have American citizens that are in a theater of war somewhere overseas, it started with a civil war. We wanted Civil War soldiers to be able to vote. They're still American citizens, and they're fighting a war on behalf of the salvation of the nation. They can't exactly get to a polling location, so they're able to vote from the battlefield. If you got somebody right now, an American serviceman or woman serving in Kuwait, we have a Wisconsin gubernatorial election coming up. We got midterm elections. I want each and every one of those soldiers and American citizens to be able to vote. Might take more than 2 or 3 days, or you may not receive the vote from Kuwait, who's from an American citizen who wants to vote in an election. So I think the Supreme Court did exactly what they were supposed to do and allowed the necessary time for votes to get here and to count those votes when they get here, because I want every vote counted.
I disagree with your premise that it shouldn't have gone to the Supreme Court. I think it needed to go to the Supreme Court so they can smack back the nonsense and make now it's over. Like, unless you come up with a case that's so beyond the pale, which I can't really think of one, unless somebody decides, and they put in here within 5 days. That's the number. So if you try to do 10, you might end up in Supreme Court again. But otherwise, they're not going to hear any more cases related to this or even close to it. They're going to tell you, no, we've argued this already. We've got the ruling, and it's over. And so I thought that was a good, hearty rejection of my favorite word, stupidity.
I don't think that it's over. I think that he will still make claims. Depends on how these midterms go.
Yeah, but
I
claims
have the
aren't going to
feeling that if a
matter.
Democrat wins in a race, they're still going to try and look at fraud. You had the FBI going to election workers' homes. There's going to be a whole bunch of other shenanigans going on. I think they have been testing the waters. And of course, this case at the Supreme Court did provide some clarity, but
Right.
it's not going to stop because it hasn't stopped in the last 6 years.
Well, neither side stopped. I mean, I think we need to chill out both sides, because now you talk about our democracy being under attack. Democratic socialists, what are your thoughts?
Kind of a loaded question, because
Of course,
I have not seen the same kinds of accusation of voter fraud being levied by the left, by Democratic socialists. It's a whole separate thing. But I have not seen Democrats bring
right.
cases and try and show evidence of Republicans in Alabama and Louisiana voting twice and cheating. I haven't seen Democrats saying that evangelicals are casting 3 and 4 votes and then taking it all the way to the courts. So it has been heavily dominated by one side.
Sure.
Even if you go back through history,
Through history,
both sides have respected election results, but there has been a thing in which minority voters are becoming much more prominent in certain metro areas, and Democrats are winning in places where they shouldn't have. You got 2 Democratic senators in Georgia right now.
Right.
For some people,
right,
that smells like fraud, because how could that possibly?
But it's really
Donald Trump lose Georgia in 2020? Well,
because you drew the lines, and then we used them. So, and I think, and getting back to the whole socialist thing, New York elected. I don't know why people are freaking out, because you're talking about out of 435 people, 3 of them are socialists, with maybe Bernie Sanders and maybe one other. I think AOC may call herself I don't think she calls herself a Democratic Socialist, but she would lose too much money if she became a Democratic Socialist. So I don't know. I find it repugnant that a person wants to tell you, yeah, we want to take over big business. We want to take over all the social programs. We want to tell people how much money they can make. It seems anti-American. And the thing that struck me was that Democrats and Republicans in fairly large numbers are pushing back, not at democratic socialism, because socialism, we do need some. We've got unemployment insurance, we've got Social Security, SSI, all those things that are needed. When you start to say we want to take over your business, Sherwin Hughes, you make too much money, so we're gonna tell you how much money you're gonna take. We're gonna it sounds ludicrous, but I think the train has left the station and the ball is rolling just a little too hard. And now we have 3 Democratic Socialist mayors who are basically borderline communists who want to take over their city. And I was just wondering your thoughts as a Democratic Party pundit and consultant and advisor and commentator. What gives?
I think the Democratic Socialism is an extreme response to the current political climate that we are in. And I would argue that the current Republicans that are unabashed Trump supporters, I don't even want to call them Republicans because there's something totally different. There's a pretty major and significant departure from, say, a Ronald Reagan Republican. Everything is much more extreme now, and the Democratic Socialists are looking at all of the issues that are going on. Wages are too low, obviously income inequality. They hate billionaires just for the simple fact that they have a lot of money. And another one of their big things is they really hate AI data centers. And that's symbolic for how they think, because they're like, oh, well, we're for the working class. We want the middle class to, do very well. And they see AI as replacing middle class workers. So any semblance of AI technology expansion, they use that to rally and to organize, because they're capitalizing off of people's economic anxieties and fears.
Which is
Donald
the same
Trump
thing
did
Republicans
the same thing.
did. Yep,
absolutely. And it's not the proper response. The reason, and it's not emotional for me, why I don't like Democratic Socialists, is that they get to completely overlook the impact of race. Well, if Black people have jobs and you're going to be in the working class and everything will be fine. No, because Democratic Socialist is still a very, very white supremacist kind of economic and
white
social
suburban.
modality.
White suburban.
And when they name constituencies, Democratic Socialists are much more likely to say, we are for queer and trans rights, and which is fine.
Right.
But if you're going to name constituencies, name the largest constituency that the Democrats have, or the most percentage-wise constituency, and that's African Americans. They were recently just chanting in Hakeem Jeffries, "You're next."
Right.
Bernie Sanders was notorious for not hiring or having any African American staff in his office on Capitol Hill for something like 30-something years. But then he runs for president and he hires Simone Sanders. Right. They are notoriously ignorant on the issue of race, because I think it's too complicated for them to understand, because
I don't think it's complicated.
They're not very smart, Dr. Kent. For them,
they just don't care.
They don't know that they don't care, because I just think that there's so much ignorance.
You're giving them I think as a Democrat, you're giving them a way out. They just don't care about black people. They've shown it and proven it over and over and over and over. You know, you can look like a pig and you can smell like a pig and roll around and slop like a pig. You're a pig.
Oh, they are trying to overlook the issues of race.
Totally.
They just trace everything back to the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, and not looking at the nuance of race. But no, you're right.
And we'll dismiss the upper middle class blacks and the upper class black people. We'll destroy them too.
Well, because if you're a capitalist, you clearly are a horrible person. And here's something else that they don't get, and I think you'll be able to relate to this. If African Americans are not being treated fairly in the workplace working for someone else, entrepreneurship has always been our way out. Capitalism has always been an opportunity for us where we can bring something to market, and if it's good, we'll get rich. Real simple. If we build a better mousetrap, it doesn't matter. People want a better mousetrap, and that gives us an additional opportunity to be successful and feed our families. But Democratic Socialists just see writ large, capitalism is bad. Can capitalism be exploitative? Absolutely. Can Democratic Socialism be exploitative? Yes. Look at communist North Korea, Russia, and China.
Yeah. But yet, well, you miss one good country, Venezuela. Nothing worked there. Like absolutely nothing worked. The government took over everything and everything failed. And we just kind of skip over that part. We kind of skip over well, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. So how you doing personally? How's life? How's the family?
Good. We're still adjusting. And I lost my father in December of last year.
Right.
And everything in our family is small. It's just myself, my brother, my mom. So like 25% of our family is gone. And so we all have to almost like get to know each other all over again, because I don't know my sibling and my mother without my dad.
So really Sherwin, I'm gonna be honest, we really don't care about you. We're just trying to check on your brother and your mother.
Oh, if there's, I don't know. I'm doing okay, I suppose. We're all a unit. We're all making it together.
So if anybody has any questions about for Sherwin, you can throw them in the YouTube chat and we can see what's going on. Let me see. Now really see, the girl said, I'm not sure why he wouldn't come on. Sherwin isn't harsh on interviews. He's actually chill. So I guess they're talking about the mayor. Are you going to invite him again?
I don't have anything I want to talk to him about. And I don't do interviews to fill time, because that's time that's wasted. And there's nothing press. I mean, maybe I could get his opinion on, the Democratic Socialists here locally. They want to start their own We Energies, or they want to buy the assets from We Energies, which is insane. But I wouldn't even want to talk to the mayor about that, because he thinks it's ridiculous. It knows that it would never happen anyway. I don't know if there's anything overwhelming in the city of Milwaukee where we just got to talk to the mayor about this, because I don't even know if the mayor has opinions. I know that he is very much led by his PR team, who are old Tom Baird folks. And I've known those people for 25 years, and I have no interest in fielding questions that have been filtered through, the same people that I've known for a long time. And I don't really care for how they do business. So there's nothing I want to say to them. Now, if my audience is like, oh, sure, when we want to talk to the mayor about something, maybe that's different, but I got nothing to say to him. And no offense to him. I just got nothing to say.
So can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
You going to vote for him?
Who's my alternative? I never feel obligated to vote for anybody. So if Cavalier Johnson, he's going to be like, somebody's going to challenge him. And if it's a serious contender, of course I'm going to give them.
So who's the serious contender? Give me. Really?
No.
What
One
three
name that
people
I've
could
heard.
return and run?
Say it again, Doc.
What three people could return and run?
I quite honestly think that Tom Barrett could come back and beat him.
Wow.
Because if you give
Wow.
Milwaukeeans a white person to vote for
They'll vote
that
for.
they're familiar with, no brainer.
So
I don't
the
think anybody
Democratic
wants the job.
So who's the Democratic Socialist going to run in Milwaukee?
Somebody whose name I don't know.
Okay.
No idea.
What about
Nobody
Willie,
wants the job.
What about Willie Hines?
His ship has sailed.
In what way? I mean, so you can't come back to the process?
No, I think if you've been out of politics for that long, because people need to know like where we are right now in this city with the issues and the problems that we're having, because he's been detached. I think his stint at the housing authority, mired in scandal.
Right.
He retired in a really weird like time window where he got like this full pension and just kind of disappeared.
But that's the process of development and all that. We talked about it last. If you go back to my last show on Thursday, the process of development causes the problems in housing. It's literally the federal government's issue that we have issues here.
I don't think voters understand that. And also, Willie Hines is for a throwback time. He was elected alderman in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
And, 96, I think. He beat Ife Anderson. That was back when we had 17 aldermanic districts.
Yep,
Talk about how long ago it was before the 2000 census. Yeah. So I don't think somebody who was a throwback to that era is relevant.
Yeah, but you brought up Norquist. I mean, Barrett.
Tom Barrett has not ever really left. And the city that you see is mostly him. The downtown development, putting resources into the streetcar, and so what you see downtown in the shops and the stores and the entertainment.
Making our taxes go up. Yeah.
I don't know if Tom wants it though, because he wanted to leave before, because he'd been trying to leave, the mayor's office
before the bottom fell out. He wanted to leave before the bottom fell out and when the pension crisis came.
Well, he first ran for governor in 2010.
Yep.
So that's 16 years ago he's been trying to leave.
Yeah.
But the pensions, and we were forced to raise taxes, which there was a way we could have mitigated that, because when Chris Abley was county executive, he was able to work with either the pension fund or the unions to mitigate the problems that Tom Barrett kept kicking down the road. And then all of a sudden, Cavalier Johnson is left with no option but to raise our sales tax 10 times what the county raised. The county was 0.2.
Yeah, but he could have made cuts and he didn't. And that's the problem. At some point, like you run your house and you expect us to run our house and budget, you got to do the same thing. You have to do more with less, just like we do. You're doing less with less and not making an instance, and prices are going up, taxes are going up, but we're still not getting anything for it. Now let me ask you this question. Do you think Black people vote and never ask for anything? What is that?
I think that there's a pretty hefty list of expectations that if we vote for someone, and lo and behold, if we find out that we were the deciding constituency in getting somebody elected, we assume that they know what our issues are and they're going to get to work on our issues. And that is not the case oftentimes.
But then why don't we just tell them, these are the 5 things we need. You need to complete 2 of these in 4 years, or we're not going to put you back in office. Why don't we give them, these are the things you need in order for me to vote for you? We're just happy they're in, and they get in, and they get reelected, and we don't get anything. We don't ask for anything.
I would challenge anyone to, and I don't disagree with that, but I would challenge anyone to just find a regular Black Milwaukeean, not one who's like super successful and super educated, not one that really understands the system of democracy and politics. I mean, someone who doesn't know who their county supervisor is, right? That's a regular person. And you tell that person, say, hey, let's work together and put together a list of demands for the mayor. The stuff they will ask for is not even humanly possible for Jesus to even do. So I would say, yes, that makes a lot of sense. We'll put together an agenda. The politicians will respond to it. But most people are not that sophisticated. And this is not a slight to voters, but I've been dealing with voters.
It sounds like a slight. It sounds like a slight.
They're not smart. Like, voters say, I need a job and more money, and my car's not working real good. And the stuff they'll ask for is insane. Who do these politicians even go to? Because that's a pretty easy thing to say. Oh, well, you go to the Black community, and there's only a handful of Black people They can speak with a level of sophistication to where they can put together a political agenda for any campaign or candidate to follow. Regular average Milwaukeeans literally don't know.
Wow.
That's an education problem.
You were born and raised here.
I was.
Wow.
I'm different than most. My education and my trajectory academically was different than most people, which I hate because there's nothing particularly special about, like, my family came up here from, Troy, Alabama, Sarasota, Florida, and Attala County, Mississippi, came up with nothing but just a work ethic and became incredibly successful. My parents bought a house right after the housing covenants in Brown Deer. Right. I went to Brown Deer schools. There was nothing unique about my parents' situation, but for some reason, like, it puts me in this really weird kind of company. I'm like, well, what did your parents do when you came up in the 60s? But it's not weird company.
Come on now. You were middle class.
Well, here's the thing, Doc. A lot of the people, like, Milwaukee has lost. I was talking about this maybe last week, the week before, but the zip codes that have the highest African-American population have lost something like 80,000 people since deindustrialization. Right. That black middle class is gone. Chicago, DC, Atlanta. So we lost a good piece of our middle class because there's other opportunities and better schools for their kids literally in any other city except for Milwaukee. So I am in unique company in that I did not entertain offers to leave Milwaukee. I had a great offer in DC. I had one in the Twin Cities back in 2007. I stayed here, where most other people would say, you know what? I'm out of here. So that shrinking middle class is real.
But what kept you here?
Commitment.
To what?
Why would I go to a place like this is home? My family. If I had to narrow it down to why I'm here, I'm not leaving my family. If I wanted an opportunity, I would make one. But I also have a commitment to the place that raised me and that gave me a life that I can be proud of. Like, I don't want to just take this institutional knowledge and just run away to another city that didn't raise me. Because let's say I went to DC. I would never be a Washingtonian. Let's say I went to Minneapolis. I would never.
Is anybody in Washington a Washingtonian, though?
Oh, a few. There's a couple
that were born there and we don't know them. So
First Chocolate City. Oh, yeah. There's a few. Okay. But I'm better off. And also, I made a career based on what I know about Milwaukee. If I went to another city, I couldn't make a career off of what I know about a city that I was recently arriving at.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let everybody know we're not having a top 5 at 5 today because Sherwin is my top 5 at 5 today. So
I'm flattered.
I'm just saying. So Sincere Ronnie Ray Real said, love this type of radio from two intellectuals with insight and thoughts. Love Black Talk. Hey, Sincere, yeah, this ain't radio.
I take it as a compliment, though.
I do too, and I really appreciate it. So I had a meetup not too long ago with Miss Kwanda, Sincere, Ronnie Ray Real, Todd, Anita. Had a great time.
For the record, I was not invited.
Well, technically you were, but you just never go anywhere or do anything or hang out with people. So
I'm a man about town, Dr. Ken. I go everywhere.
We just never see you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks, as they say.
All right, so I got my money question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here's my money question. Would you rather be celebrated for your latest work or your greatest work?
Greatest.
Why is that?
Because my latest could be replaced next week. If there was something I did that can stand the test of time, I would want to be recognized for that, something that is durable.
Okay.
My latest work is just maybe me responding to whatever the issue of the day is, and tomorrow there will be another issue of the day.
Okay. L. Dawson 2010 said, when are candidates going to stop regurgitating the surface stuff and really work on things that are destroying the average family?
I guess when and what candidates. I mean, I'd like to look at the gubernatorial candidates, but to answer that question, never.
Really?
I think it's that election is over.
You are so pessimistic.
I'm real. Pessimistic. It's one of the worst Democratic primaries I've ever seen. And I'm going to say something controversial. I'm going to tell you one of the best primaries I've ever seen and how I think primaries need to go. Now, this one was quite extreme,
okay,
but it did something that was unique and memorable. when you had, oh goodness, 16 or 17 Republicans vying for the nomination in 2016, they went after each other. They attacked each other, sometimes personally, which we
Right.
don't like, but sometimes they attacked each other's records and each other's ideas. And it was very, very clear for the voters. These Democrats that are running in Wisconsin, and I would argue, so if I look at it from how the Republicans thought the nation was going after 2 terms of Obama, some of them probably weren't happy. Okay, fair enough. That's why you have a big primary. But they were able to articulate their positions. They had a whole bunch of different debates, and they made it clear that, like, hey, I don't like what you did. You're not experienced enough. And that really made it easy for voters because they were competing. They're not competing here in Wisconsin. And I would argue that from a Democrat's perspective, things are just as much on fire right now for Democrats as they were for Republicans after 2 terms of Obama. But look how our candidates are running. And I'm particularly disappointed in the 2 black candidates because they're not even mentioning the city in which they will get the most votes, and that's Milwaukee. So I'm really frustrated. They're all trying to run,
but
like
they're doing what they're doing what other Democratic candidates have done. They totally take the Milwaukee vote and the black vote for granted. Meanwhile, the black vote doesn't ask for anything, so they're not hearing them. So they're not, out of sight, out of mind.
They're listening to their pollsters, and they do these internal polls, which is telling that probably a couple
weird,
things.
Which is really weird.
Sometimes polls work, sometimes they don't. But internal polling is going to say African American turnout in this election is going to be 3%.
Right.
And so that's a calculated risk. Okay, if 3% of the turnout in this election is going to be African Americans, well, then I will look at disaffected farmers and rural Wisconsinites, and I'll try and convert some Trumpers who aren't doing very well in the economy. I would look at that differently and say this 3% could make the difference in my race because with 7 candidates on the ballot,
yes,
this 3% puts me out because the number of votes that they're going to need to get to November is going to be embarrassingly small.
Yes, it is.
And it doesn't take much to move the black electorate.
Yep.
If you say a handful of things that make sense to us,
yep.
Crime is bad, education is worse, opportunities are diminished. People be like, oh, okay, at least they're speaking our language. And then you get 90% of that 3%. Guess what? Now you're a candidate in November.
Yep.
You go to the playoffs. You go to the Super Bowl.
And nobody's doing that. Nobody has even mentioned.
No.
Milwaukee County, Racine, Kenosha. They're all running against a woman who, by and large, should never have been in the race. But, oh well.
This is a Madison election.
Yep. Which is weird to me because they don't even have the population.
They outvote percentage-wise. They outvote Milwaukee.
I wouldn't go percentage because in the end, the wild counties have flipped. And if I can get Brown County, I can do some significant damage in the state. But for some reason, our politicians seem to keep going after the shiny thing, not recognizing the majority of people are there. They have very specific things they want. And not one candidate is saying, I'm going to give it to you. Or here is what I'm going to do. I don't care what your issues are. I don't care what an issue is. What I care about is when I'm done in office in 4 years, these are the things that I'm going to fight to do and complete. But nobody has that.
If I was a Republican voter in Wisconsin right now, I would vote for Mandela Barnes because there's no
way he's going to ever win. Right.
There's no Republican primary to speak of. So advance the Democrat that has been proven to lose statewide against a Republican. And I am
at least he's
leaving room for that to happen.
At least he's consistent, though, right?
Sure.
Consistently losing.
That's what you're into.
Yeah.
But something is going to happen because it's Wisconsin politics and we live in a very unusual political twilight zone. Like nothing is going to go according to plan. A very unusual thing may happen. They call it the October surprise, where in presidential elections, some weird scandal drops right before the election.
Right.
I'm expecting an August surprise. Like something is going to happen that none of us saw coming. And I guess buckle your seatbelts.
I could only hope that would happen. I think that would at least make people wake up and take notice. I don't think people care. I honestly don't think people actually care. I don't think they care about Democratic socialists. I don't think they care about Democrats. They don't care about Republicans. They don't care about the city. They're just surviving. And that's weird to me. I've never been in a Democratic city where people actually did not care about it. It's just weird.
I think folks are so inundated, and there's been a loss of faith that it's almost tangible.
Mm-hmm.
People, they don't trust anybody. They don't trust the system. They don't trust their local elected officials because
they
politics,
don't trust God.
It's failed a lot of people.
Yep.
And I don't think there's anything happening in this election cycle to reinvigorate anyone's confidence in this election.
I think they stopped listening to their elders. Their elders saw these things, saw the writing on the wall and tried to tell them, but they don't listen and get shoved aside. And then when it blows up in your face, by the time they circle back, I don't think elders are going to care either. They're going to say, well, I told you, and I had a window. I've done it before. I have a window, and I'm going to do this, and you need to do this, and somebody didn't listen. And so now it went boom, and now I don't have that window because I'm over here doing this, and you want me to circle back and fix some stuff. And I'm like, no, it's too late. You should have listened, just like we had to listen. You could at least not take the advice, but at least listen. It might have lit a fuse, but for some reason, like people under 50, they think they know everything. And so sometimes, you got to let people step in it. And when they knee deep, ask them, do they need some help?
Most of these candidates, Doc, to your point about listening to the elders, Joel Brennan is probably the oldest. He's maybe 54,
right?
Maybe.
Right.
Kelda's 48. Mandela in his 30s. I think David Crowley just turned 40. Francesca Hong is in her 30s.
Right.
While we would want our voters and community members to listen to elders to get that sage wisdom. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the elders were even seeing, because they're going to vote in a higher number, but I don't even know if I'm seeing their issues reflected in the candidates who could be their grandchildren.
None.
It's a very young group of candidates. There's something if I could think like a Republican, and I have the ability to think like anybody, one of the smartest things they did, and this happened, I don't know if I was on the election board when this happened, but I know when it took place, there was nothing we could do about it. So we used to have our primaries in September. They were moved to August, probably 20 years ago.
Right.
Students are not in school. So UW-Madison not being in session August 11th.
Yep.
Francesca Hong, she wins, right? If the student vote, which is especially UW-Madison, which is decidedly more liberal, if they were in the dorms and school was going on when the election took place during the primary.
It's a landslide. It's a landslide.
Republicans are like, you're not going to get that student vote. We're going to put the election in August when in the city of Milwaukee, we're worried about crime and gun violence. Nobody's thinking politics in the middle of the dog days.
Yeah, that is true.
It worked out well for him.
Last word, sir. Anything to add?
It's been a pleasure. Let's do this more often. I like this whole YouTube thing. I should try it.
Yeah, you do every Monday through Friday at 7:00 at Hughes Views 414 on YouTube. So make sure you check them out and listen each and every day. I listen every day. I kind of chime in on the chat and harass people. But I try to stay away, not to take away from your fanfare, because you be having some colorful phone calls. Because once Al calls, whoa. Anyway.
I mean, some people, Al is polarizing. They like him or they don't like him, but boy, oh boy, do they talk about him.
Is language too much on YouTube to the point? I was a cop for 30 years. I've heard and said some pretty colorful things. I can't do it. It's too much.
I am curious as to what people would say when there's no FCC lurking over their shoulders, myself included, because there are some things that happen in our world where I have nothing but 4-letter words to describe the madness. And obviously I can't do that during the day. And so I think it's even an outlet for me. And I try not to use too much colorful language because actually YouTube doesn't care for that. But I think it's a contrast to the censorship that I face during the day. And it makes it fun for me because I'm at home, I'm in my environments, I'm not censored. And it's because I got to make something. It's got to be different than what I do during the day. Otherwise, it's going to be just a replay of, my earlier program. So no, it's
right.
good. But the language does get out of control.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I don't even want to. Yeah, like sometimes when he calls and I hear you say, "Oh," click, I'm done. I gotta call you back. Oh, yeah. It's a bit much. It's a bit much. All right. I had 2 fake last questions. Where do you see Milwaukee in 5 years?
Not better. A continuation of bad policy, low levels of education, more closures, and then probably more investment downtown. I don't think that we're on a good trajectory right now.
Right. Do you think we're headed towards the Detroit issue like Detroit had?
I hate to compare Milwaukee to any other place, but I think there'll be more gentrification. I think there'll be more displacement. I think that home prices are going to continue to rise, pricing most middle-class folk out of the dream of home ownership. I just don't think that we're in a good go. And also I'm looking for an economic recession at some point because the economy has just been chugging along. It's got to come to an end. The Dow has been doing great. The stock market has been doing great in really uncertain economic times. We're still going to be in a war. So it's hard to be optimistic about the city's future, but I guess we'll see.
Well, thank you thank you much. I appreciate it. Sherwin Hughes, Hughes Views 414. You can find him youtube.com at Hughes Views 414 every Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 o'clock p.m. I guess that's where I'll be at 7 o'clock tonight, harassing all of your YouTube chat and seeing how everything is and see what's going on. Well, thanks for hanging. Of course, he's on 101.7 The Truth Monday through Friday from 9 till 12 if you have the stomach to dive in and see what's going on. I'm just reflecting my chat. I'm just reflecting, what people have relayed to me because I have not listened to the station since I left.
You should give it a try.
I think not.
Fair enough.
There are other things that take up brain matter. That's not one of them. And that's not a negative. I've just moved on. I'm sorry. They moved me on. So it is what it is.
Indeed. You're better off now.
Don't let too many people know that because it's I'm actually very well off, to be honest with you. It's doing well. So, and don't be stealing my background music either.
See, now you're gonna make me steal it.
Well, that's the last thing you said. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna steal your music. Like, really?
Like really? This scrolling like marquee at the bottom. Oh, I totally stole that from you. Absolutely. I make no bones about it. I will steal whatever I want to steal.
I appreciate it.
Flattery. That's what it is, Doc.
The biggest form of flattery. So, all right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too.
And that's all we have from Sherwin Hughes. I want to say thank you. Of course, you can check him out Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock on youtube.com/@ Hughes Views 414. Hey, thanks for being here. Thank you. Appreciate each and every one of you. Let me go back through my chat, see who's up in here. Hey, what's up, Babar? See you Friday. What you doing? Hey, what's up, SE? Curly Q, L. Dawson, Jasmine. Hey. Let me see who else is up in here. SE, Todd, Quanda, Sincere, Ronnie Ray Real, Babar. I want to say thanks for hanging in. Thanks for being here. Make sure you let everybody know, of course, if you want to support the show, go to drkenswag.printify.me and see if there's something you like, a cup, a hat, or whatever, a shirt, and order it and see, check it out. So thanks for being here. God bless. Take care. Don't work too hard. Hey, what's up, LT? You own the Late Show, LT.
Quiet.
Hey, God bless. Take care. I will see you on Tuesday night. Wednesday, Dame Elsie is going to be with us.
Chicken head.
Yep. He most certainly is a chicken head. All right. Later. I'm out. Peace.